It's like having a bad track record with your bank. Unpaid bills, debit orders being returned, and loan payments overdue. The chances of accessing further credit become slim, and you're now a high risk. Moody's has turned into the bank manager that's getting tough over South Africa's inability to lift growth.
It does create inflationary problems. The cost of capital increases, so lending money and all those other things, and we've got high levels of debt in this country. Those could be implicated, and obviously I think fundamentally is confidence in the economy and in the policy making of the country. Immediately from the downgrade, the immediate impact might be on confidence, and that could hit things like foreign direct investment. Employment might be a bit of a medium to longer term feature, because obviously the economy slows down a little bit.
Downgrades are not uncommon, but the consequences are severe. Last month, Brazil was slashed to junk status, an economy that was growing at over 4% just 4 years ago. Brazil is struggling its worst recession since 1901.
We are similar and somewhat different. We are both a part of this strange collection of emerging markets. Some people might be saying, is this the domino effect of the collapse of the BRIC nations? I don't believe India and China will follow the same route, but because both Brazil and Russia have been very, very underperforming, highly underperforming markets.
If South Africa is downgraded, the focus will turn to its ability to bounce back. Colombia was downgraded in 1999. It had to take a $2.7 billion IMF loan. It took Colombia 12 years to get back to investment grade. More recently, Romania fell to junk in 2008. It took a $16 billion loan from the IMF and 6 years to get back to investment grade. In 1998, South Korea was also downgraded to junk, but after taking a $35 billion bailout from the IMF, it was aggressive in moves to address the challenges.
It's not the end of the world to be non-investment grade. In fact, investors can look at the country and see it as a high-yield economy as opposed to junk. South Korea is a perfect example of that. It took only 12 months for them to come out of non-investment grade, and equity markets actually went up, the currency actually appreciated. It was a boon time for investors who found mispriced assets.
South Africa is not a debt defaulter. We do not default on our debt. Let's not make this the first example of that in our democratic history, but many people do believe that there's a downgrade that is followed by a default. We're not really in that category just yet. We're not in that red zone.
It's expected the Moody's team will meet with Treasury and big business in South Africa. Finance Minister Pravin Gordhan confirmed this week that the agency raised its concern about him possibly being investigated by the Hawks unit. On the eve of the Moody's visit, the Special Investigative Unit said it would take legal action if the minister refuses to answer their questions. The ongoing spat between the Finance Minister and the Hawks unit pushed the rand 2% weaker on the day. There's no doubt that Moody's will raise more questions as it assesses South Africa's ability to resolve the current political discourse and concentrate on growing the economy before it makes its final decision. Samitra Nadu, CCTV, Johannesburg.